let's go ahead and bring this dog and pony home because they're hungry and they're thirsty and they've been running around for a while now. And we are now with Cindy leading. I think I got that right. Cindy, right?
That's the right the time. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So go ahead. Take away, Cindy.
So we have this very interesting article from NPR dated from August 18th of this year. It talks about how Keller Independent School District outside Fort Worth decided to ban uh, over 40 books, and including all the versions of the Bible, and some of them containing LGBTQ themes or characters. So they're in a process of reviewing those books, and we don't know obviously what are their criterias, but I think it's interesting to see that Bibles are forbidden in schools in Texas, which is, we know, Texas. And so, yeah, there's this very, very strong will to uh, avoid talking about certain topics like slavery, like genocides committed by the US, like all those things that are fought tooth and nails by the far right in Texas, and this is part of it. What are you all thinking about this? Phoebe, what do you think?
It's deliberate. You can't scrutinize something if you can't read it. If you ban the Bible, you can't scrutinize it. Therefore, you can't scrutinize their foundations. This is not accidental. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want their worldview challenged. They don't want to be looked at and be made uncomfortable. So if you ban the one thing that could do that, guess what? You're unchallengeable. The TV show The Handmaid's Tale, the book The Handmaid's Tale, has a section in it where women cannot read full stop, so therefore they can't even read the Bible, so therefore they can't challenge the system. Well, they've gone a step further here, and now no children, male, female, non-binary, etc., they can't read it at all. So they can't challenge it. So they lose that element of being able to criticize, and you lose that element of critical thinking. This is not an accident. This irony is unlost on me, and it is completely deliberate, so
I
that they
didn't
don't
see it
get
that
any
way.
challenge on what they're doing.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
want to
didn't see it that way. Just one quick
go ahead,
sentence.
Cindy.
I thought it was one brand of Christianity complaining about other branches by trying to have their versions of the Bible removed, and vice versa, and all of this ending in all versions being removed. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, okay. I just want to bring some context to this, guys. We did a show some time ago about an activist named Chaz Stevens out of Florida, and he was actively pushing for a Bible ban since Florida districts were, banning books left and right, because they were too goddamn woke. Okay. And so Chaz was saying that, well, hey, if you want to ban other books because you think that they're woke, or you think that they're violent, or you think that they go against, like, morality, whatever, then one of the biggest books that you need to ban is the Bible. So in Texas, in this particular district, parents can chime in to say what they want banned. And since we have like books like Diary of Anne Frank, the graphic novel, I
Graphic
believe
novel.
that's actually, yeah, the graphic novel was banned. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and even though like Toni Morrison reading was always very, an issue for me, but symbolism, she loves symbols. But regardless of that, because that book was considered too woke, then that had to be banned, and so on and so forth. Then some of the parents was like, well, hell, if you're gonna buy all these other Bibles, all these other books, you need to go ahead and ban the Bible. It's violent. We can argue that it's devoid of morality. We can We can also say that it does have like problematic views when it comes to especially othering people. It's misogynistic. It promotes slavery. It others women, and debases them as property. So why are we allowing children to read that in their libraries in the school curriculum? But so that's kind of how this whole thing came about. But August, I would like for you to go ahead and give your a dime and a nickel. That
Yeah,
means chime in.
absolutely. So I
Go ahead.
all right, definitely will. So I think something that really needs to be brought up here is that as skeptics, we want to be promoting skepticism and we want to be raising a new generation on the idea of skepticism, critical thinking, etc. So I think instead of banning these books that have certain topics that maybe parents or administrators may not approve of, I think we should be teaching them how to think and not what to think. So we can kind
Amen.
of show them these texts and be like, this is why this is problematic. Here's, what do you think about it? All that stuff. So I don't agree with banning it. I think there is a line somewhere because there are certain books, topics that are just not age appropriate. I think going into the graphic details of the Holocaust and American slavery and everything, I think that can be problematic for very young people. But I think there's versions of those terrible things that are age appropriate. And those books should be included because we need to be showing them from a young age these atrocities happened. They are bad. And we're not telling you that they're bad just because. Here's the reasons why they're bad. And then promote the skepticism of, well, how should we think about this? And, what is your epistemology? Other than just telling them, well, this is bad and just accept that. So I don't really agree with the Bible being banned. It's ridiculous on its own accord. Let them read it. Let them see the atrocities, and tell them, well, we see similar things happening in our world and you can make connections to them. And I think if we teach them that critical thinking, those lines in those will be drawn in their head automatically, hopefully. So I think that's what needs to be promoted is more of the skeptical thinking, the secular humanist point of view, and then it will all just fall apart on its own, I think.
Hmm. Well, I don't want to put like a caveat of like, oh, well, slavery or the Holocaust shouldn't necessarily, we should be thinking about like when though they be exposed to that. I think that that should be up to parents because you're going to have children that's going to be a bit more savvy and be able to take subject matter, versus some others. And
True.
parents know and they know their children more than anything. And regardless of any of these things, it's history. It happened and it should be talked about. It should not be considered, oh, this is a woke thing, therefore we shouldn't, we should not allow children or whatever to be able to be exposed to it. I love something that a friend of mine did, and then I'm going to give it over to Phoebe and Cindy so that they can give their last thoughts. But one of my friends had, who was an atheist, his daughter asked him, "Can I go to church with my grandmother?" He said, "Yes, only if we talk about it afterwards." And the conversation between the both of them was basically his daughter actually imploring her critical thinking when it came to the stories that she heard. So this is all about if the parents had a say about what the children can get out of that library, and then if they talk about it so that they can get a better understanding of what they're reading, that's the way it should be. I don't really believe in banning books. But Cindy, I like for you to give your thoughts, and then Phoebe.
Yeah, I totally disagree with what what you just said. I don't think parents should have a say in what is taught to their children. That should be decided by the state because, uh, and in this case, I mean the federal state, not the local states. I should. Uh, I find it
I meant in libraries. Like
okay.
the actual content available to them, and between the parent and the kid they can determine what they're going to be able to check out. I'm
Okay.
not I'm
Mm,
just saying just have it available,
yeah.
but that's
Okay.
what I meant. Hmm.
Yeah, because I don't understand why education is decentralized in the US. That shouldn't even be a thing. It should be decided at the highest possible level and applied to every state evenly. But yeah, what I noted in this trend that we've been seeing since Trump was elected, this idea that schools are indoctrinating children into woke ideology. It's funny because the way they push this is very, very, very similar to the byte model. You have the I and the E, which is information and emotional uh, capability, emotional mastering. I don't remember the exact word,
Don't worry
but
about it.
yes, yeah, emotional
We
control.
got
Yeah,
you.
you
Mhm.
have half of the four letters already at play by the far right, and it's not a stretch when people say it's a fascism movement. You have these here already. Fascism is control of information and emotional control.
Yeah, Phoebe.
I'm waiting for somebody to try to chime in and say we should ban the book Fahrenheit 451 by Ray
I was
Bradbury.
just about to bring that up. Did we
Yeah.
not read that
Because
book?
because
That was
Fahrenheit
assigned reading
451 is
for
a book
me.
of banning books, for goodness sakes. But what I will say
Yeah.
to conclude this is that these school boards, they're elected. If
Yeah.
you don't like it, run for something and keep these idiots off the board.
There's too many idiots is the problem.
Yeah. Too many
The
MCs,
idiots
not
vote
enough
for the
microphones.
idiots.
Too many. Well, I will
I
say
mean, you
this,
gotta
and
if you wanna keep government
go ahead.
out of religion, you want to keep religion and government safe, do something about it. Stand up and say, I disagree. That's what you need to be doing. It's great the four of us are shouting about this, but if you're out there watching and you're going, I hate this, and you are in somewhere in America or in another country, and you see this happening, stand up and say, Oi, what the bloody hell are you playing at? Now, sod off.
I also think it's
And that,
important though to say that only if you are able to do so, don't put yourself in danger. It's a very good sentiment for probably most people, but keep yourself safe if that's not a good thing for you to do. If you're in an ultra conservative area, please don't just go screaming. Anyway, sorry about that, Cynthia. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, those are both nightjar moments. Like, if you want to go, oi, somewhere, I'm all about that. And if, but please, people, depending on where you are, please, please, please